Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Life West Leadership Line. I'm Dr. Ron Oberstein, and I'm so happy that you're with us. I've got a new friend, I would say, Dr. Micheala Edwards from the St. Louis area. Micheala, welcome to the Life West Leadership Line.
Thank you so much. One correction, Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Difference between Kansas City and St. Louis.
Kansas City. They're close. They're close.
They're
Not
close.
St. Louis, Kansas City. But you went to Logan College.
There you go.
In
Yes.
St. Louis. That's where I got that mix up. A 2009 graduate. She is the past vice president for 2 terms of the American Black Chiropractic Association. And now, as of July 1st, Dr. Micheala is the president of Abca. So not only, and I don't know if they've had female presidents before, but maybe they have. You can share that if you're the first or not. But Dr. Micheala and I spoke, I don't know, maybe about a month and a half ago. I don't know exactly when it was. Time flies right now. But we spoke, and we're just developing a friendship. And I just wanted to have her on the line. She's a brilliant chiropractor, a phenomenal woman, and she's doing great things for the profession. So really welcome to our show, and I hope that a lot of people get to really feel your heart and get to know you better, right?
Yes, thank you.
Let's jump in. Let's talk about Abca. I mean, you are the president of Abca. We would be remiss to not even talk about it, right? And
Absolutely.
Yeah, just share with us, what's going on with the current status.
Well, just to give you a little bit of an insight, I am the 4th actual female president of the ABCA. We have had a phenomenal list of leaders that have led the association in years past. Our number one focus always kind of changes with each administration, and every administration has done something unique for the ABCA. And so, I am excited and ecstatic to be the current president in such a changing time that the world is embarking upon right now. And so the ABCA has always been the association that represents minorities in the profession. Our mission literally states to integrate and improve outcomes for people of color that are entering into the profession of chiropractic. And so a lot of times we, want to just basically put the word out that we are in existence as a voice for the collective of, people who are minorities that are trying to either get into chiropractic school or are currently in chiropractic school or have graduated and are practicing and maybe, needs a network system that will give them a little bit of an insight to minority communities and to things that is actually going on from a political standpoint, as well as, just on the ground running, treating patients in the communities, working and forming, bonds with community organizations and being involved in trying to heal and help whatever communities our doctors service. So right. It's a great time.
You said something interesting because, obviously with the title of Abca, right, American Black Chiropractic Association, and yet, your purpose, I think, encompasses people of all color, right? So
that is correct.
And so I think it's important for people to understand that it is not an exclusive, organization, right?
That is correct. We have members that represent, multiple cultures and races. If you are actually in support of minorities or Black people studying chiropractic and practicing chiropractic, you most definitely are qualified as a doctor or a student of chiropractic to join the association. We do not have an all-exclusive membership clause. And so we do have many people, like, for example, I laughed because I did a talk last week to the California State Board. And after that talk, we got new members coming from the California State Board who are non-Black, non-African-American people, doctors of chiropractic, and they joined. I mean, one even joined as a lifetime member. So we most definitely encourage, membership. If you want to support any of our listed purposes, we have actually our constitutional purposes are listed on our website, abcachiro.com. And so if you have any, any fight in your heart to help us to tackle some of those initiatives that our founders have laid out, because they've been the same since inception of the ABCA in 81, we most definitely welcome you. So I always say, don't think of us, and I get students to call us and ask those questions as well. We got people that really are like, well, it could be considered a racist thing to have an ABCA, of course, in today's, culture and climates. But in reality, we're not inclusive or exclusive. So anyone can join. And again, we have non-Black members. They've been around for a while.
Well, you right here, you have a new member. So I will be joining at the latest tomorrow. If I can get to it today, I will. So okay. I am joining. And I think it's important.
And we will welcome you.
Yeah. And it's so important because what you said, if in your heart, there's a fight, to bring equality and as we know, in our profession, if we were to look at people of color in our profession, right? And I'm talking about anywhere from Native Americans to Asians to Latinx to Black to I probably left some Pacific Islanders, whoever else, on the very bottom, it will be Black. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think right now our profession is about 2 to 3%. Not the very bottom, but in the bottom realm.
Yeah. Everything that I'm finding in my research right now is pretty much pointing to, a 1% to 2% range. No one really is able to give a concrete number. Just, you consider the source and how information is filtered and even shared, because I'm having a hard time finding it. But I believe right now the profession is I safely say the profession is including less than 5% Black chiropractors. As far as other minorities, I'm not sure. I know some research from 2012 has been put out there, and at the time there were more Asian, I think, students or doctors of chiropractic registered than Black doctors and students of chiropractic. And then, of course, you have some other, like you said, the Latino groups. And then, you have some other nationalities that actually travel, like Canadians. There's a lot of other, groups of people that actually come to become chiropractors. But as far as understanding the numbers, we also have to look at what number of those students are actually practicing, or new doctors, once they graduate, actually practice in the States. And actually want to, be included in a number. I mean, if you're not given the data, then it's kind of like, where do we get from?
And we're able to find the data. We know the data from the colleges, and so we can see what's progressing, right? And yes. and you talked about, we'll just stay on Abca for a second, because you mentioned the purpose of Abca, and I know you have a vision. You said that the other presidents kind of ushered in different things, which is really cool, right? So share with us what your vision is of Abca.
Well, everything is a big picture to me. I don't necessarily take, issues at hand with only taking a look at what is the very smallest portion of the problem. I like to try and build resolutions around an entire idea, right? And so I say this, and I've said it before, maybe not in a political, stand, but I've said it before. The ABCA was created by our ambitious founder, Dr. Bobby Westbrook's, for, an issue that he saw when he was practicing and had gone to school. And so I would love for the ABCA to knock out every initiative to a level that the ABCA no longer is needed. And that makes a bold statement, because I named for you the actual mission statement. I told you what our mission statement was. So when that mission is done, then I feel like then we can then embrace as our profession as a whole without having some type of differentiation between, Black, white, Latina, whatever it is that you want to, look at the data for. So as a whole, the ABCA, my goal is to kind of get us closer to that level, and focusing on a couple of key pieces, right? The first thing is membership. The second thing is scholarship. And the third thing is diversity and inclusion and research. So as far as membership is concerned, we're just revamping our membership options, and we're going to offer another level of membership to new doctors of chiropractic. So if you just graduated, you fall into this category between graduation day and 5 years later. The purpose of separating this population out of our membership is to actually hone in on these doctors and give them one piece that they may have been missed so far in the curriculum in school. Maybe they, need help to understand, should they become an associate? Should they become a contract? Should they just get another loan and actually open up on their own? Should they partner with someone? And so these options are pretty much, things that they have to seek out on their own. And we've been finding that a lot of our members, our young new doctors, that's one of the main problems that they're having. The transition between doctor and student is hard. So we're going to offer them a few different things that they didn't get as a student member or even as a general member as a doctor, right? And then from there, hopefully we can help them to get into practice and reach their goals a little quicker than what they would have without the ABCA. These things include, partnerships or mentorships with partners of the ABCA that are inclusive of doctors like, Dr. Frank Vaught, Dr. Xavier Tipler, Dr. Edgar Everett of Evoke, and their mentoring and coaching options, as well as Dr. Brett Jones of Kairos Culture Training. And then we have some integrity doctors that are working with the ABCA to help place some of our, more seasoned interns, as well as people who have just graduated down in Memphis, in the Memphis area, and then other areas across the country at the leadership of Dr. Jason Cannon. So we have these perks that we're going to roll out to our new members. And then also we're working on some board reviews that we have named a chairman for. She's doing some research, Dr. Lindsay Banks, doing some research for us on how best we can help prepare students to, strategize, not necessarily board review courses where we're going over questions and drilling, memorization, but actually going over strategies, test taking skills, and things that could help students to better prepare and better study for boards, right? And then other than that, we just most definitely are always, from a membership standpoint, looking at how we can grow the association's numbers. And so we'll be adding some additional membership components or membership categories to our list as well. The scholarship piece, we just need to beef up the ideas to raise money to officially fund an endowment for our scholarships. We don't have that. The money that we raise for our endowment now just goes into our regular general account, and we kind of operate with it separated. But we want to raise money to give a more impactful scholarship that definitely falls in line with one of our initiatives. And then, of course, we always want to support and lend a helping hand to help develop students' leadership skills across the states within our SAPCA organization, our student organization. And so we definitely have increased conversations with our students and our student leaders so that we could help them to kind of maneuver through the current time with regards to diversity and inclusion on their campuses. So these are primarily on the top, what our goals look like.
And that's a lot.
It's a lot.
But I will tell you this, we had, I want to say 10 or 12 of our students last summer go to
Daytona.
Daytona, and they attended the Abca conference, and they came back and they were so inspired. Mm-hmm. And I want to tell you, yes, the content, they like the content, but really their inspiration was being around the doctors, right? And learning from the doctors. I had a doctor drive from, I don't know where, but it took him to lunch, and we just talked about him, Dr. Drew Clark, right? Came and drove him. He was part of the convention, took this whole group out to lunch, and maybe his wife, Dr. Kanea was with him. And they were just so inspired about the givingness of the doctors and the willingness to mentor and to talk and to be there with them, right? And they came back, I'm telling you, they weren't even touching the ground. They were like 2 feet off the ground as they were flying through the air. So, and I know, and I don't know if our viewers will know this now, that a couple of weeks ago, we were supposed to be having the conference at Life West this year.
Yes.
And it got canceled, obviously, because of COVID, but it's rescheduling for next year. That'll be hosted on the West Coast here, which we really do appreciate. We're very excited to have everybody out. But
yes, our national conventions are vital to, connecting these students to mentors and doctors. A lot of times they go through their chiropractic, career in college that in an area or, in a school that maybe they don't see anyone that kind of looks like them. And so when people come to our national conventions, they're always so awestruck at the fact that we have these doctors that come and everybody's like, what do you need? We have it. And so students don't really know that. And a lot of times students don't know how to approach approach a doctor and say, when I was a student, I didn't know. I didn't initially feel comfortable going just to any chiropractic office and saying, listen, I'm a student. Can I shadow you? Can you give me your forms? Can you tell me what you do in a new patient exam? Students don't know how to do that comfortably. And I understand because I've been there. And so the ABCA kind of, bridges that gap and smooths that away. And we make sure that all of the doctors that are there get a chance to get in front of the students to speak on a public level, as well as plenty of time during our national convention that they can interact with them on a personal level, because we all know conversations change if you're on a party bus more so than if you're sitting in a seminar,
right? That's right. And they tell me about the party bus. They tell me about that party bus. But I will tell you this: you said some great names, and Brett Jones is a Life West graduate. Frank Vaughn, who's a friend, from Chicago. There's some really, really powerful Black chiropractors and chiropractors of color, powerful Latinx chiropractors and powerful. And it's just expanding that out. Because one of the things that really touches me, Doc, that hurts me, actually, I have to tell you, is, if we really want to get chiropractic out to the world, right, and have it accessible for every, woman, every child, and every man, right, to have chiropractic care available, that's a lofty goal, but it's something I think that everyone wants to have. I don't care where you are in chiropractic, it's something that we want to have available. But then when you start looking at color and you start saying, well, if we only have, 1 to 2%, of Black chiropractors, you only have this amount of Latinx chiropractors, we have populations out there in the world that are being underserved, right?
Absolutely right.
And so when we look at that, if we got in the USA, just USA, if we have a 10%, I think it's like 11 or 13%, but before my math, if it's a 10% Black population, right, we've got 30 million Black people, more than 30 million Black people. And how many chiropractors? If we have 2% of 65,000 or 70,000, and, I don't know if people really understand that, people like to see their doctors be of their same color, right? Mm-hmm. It's just important, right? There's a trust factor there. There's all kinds of things that go on there. And we're not serving that in chiropractic, if that's the case. And that's what's near and dear to my heart. And I'm talking about not just Black, but it could be, it could be Native American Indian, it could be whatever. We need to start building this up, right? And start really getting chiropractic built up on a level, because we know how great a profession it is, right?
I absolutely agree.
Same thing in dentistry, same thing in healthcare, but someone has to take the lead. And you brought up diversity, right? You brought up a diversity and inclusion as part of what's happening, so let's touch into that, because I think it's a great point. I think it's important these days, just to be able to talk about diversity and inclusion. So I'd love to have you share some thoughts on it and where you're at with it.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'll say I completely feel like, if people actually understand and believe in the profession of chiropractic as their profession of choice, which we all are doctors of chiropractic, you have to believe that everyone with the spine can benefit at some point with chiropractic, even if it's from a talk with the chiropractor, not necessarily, an adjustment or the laying on of hands of any way. And so I believe, like you said, there are cultures and people all across this nation that need chiropractic care, need chiropractic consulting, and could benefit from it. And so when you look at the numbers, it is disheartening to know that there are a lot of people that are missing out on any type of representation to even see a chiropractor or to even learn more about what it can do and the benefits of it. And so when I think about diversity, I always go back to saying, listen, I'm a Black woman. I was raised in an urban city. Kansas City is I consider it to be an urban town. I have a very large family on both my mother and father's side. And so at this point, I can tell you, I didn't hear of the profession of chiropractic or know that there was any chiropractic or chiropractor on earth until after I had my first undergraduate degree. At that time, I was, mid-20s, and had never, I mean, I had been to the doctor before. No one ever made a reference or referral. But then I thought about that once, now I'm on this side of things. I thought about that and I said, I wonder how many people are the same way and just never look up and run into a chiropractor or even hear about it, right? And so my people, I say my people, Black people, a lot of times we hold on to, harmful facts that may have been historic for our people, right? We hold on to things that could be harmful and passed on generation to generation to generation. And so a lot of my people are not trustworthy of, chiropractic if they've heard of it, because they maybe have heard, the whole fake doctor quackery type, whatever it is, ideology that had, been struck in over the profession in the early years, that they just don't even want to give, the practice of chiropractic a shot. And they certainly are questioning giving chiropractic a shot with a doctor that doesn't look like them, right? And so at the least, if any of, my colleagues that are Black or African American or Latino or Asian, whatever it is, if you could get in front of your population and actually just give the talk, right? That we used to call it give the TikTok. If you are able to just give the talk and have people, a patient base, hear you speak, that will definitely increase the numbers of knowledge in the profession within certain cultural dynamics, right? And so, if that's the case, that's another reason why, as far as diversity and inclusion are concerned, the ABCA stance is to try and give these types of speakers and teachers and administrators an opportunity to get in front of people with those titles. And so we're working on trying to create job boards for our doctors of chiropractic, our members, that they can actually maybe find jobs from schools, so then we can improve or increase the number of Black teachers or minority teachers at chiropractic colleges across the nation. And as well as basically, looking for jobs. I mean, we may have some new doctors that may want to work for someplace like The Joint or for another organization within the profession, and they just don't get those, they don't hear about those opportunities. So we want to be able to improve those numbers in that standpoint. That's one side of things. The other side, when I talk about diversity and inclusion, I have to consider, recruitment practices at schools, right? Because you have to understand how we even get students in the seat at these schools. And a lot of times the students can't see it and don't really understand that they have an opportunity, that it's there for them. They won't seek it out unless they, get someone to actually kind of present it to them. So the ABCA wants to be able to help each school with recruitment efforts so that we could actually get in front of and help the schools get in front of students to recruit. Again, we understand that not every school is going to have the administration that, fits the bill as far as, having every single, culture represented in the recruitment office, right? But the ABCA most definitely wants to do our part. If we're able to send one of our students or one of our local doctors to recruit, with our administrative offices and recruitment offices, then by all means, we would love to do that. And so we incorporate also some recruitment options. And you and I have discussed a couple of ideas that we're still working on for our next convention, but we always want to be, the standard that our schools and school, recruitment offices and administration offices can look to try and say, listen, we need help. We need to recruit students. Where can we get them? And can we use you to do it? We definitely will. So diversity is kind of, it's a touchy subject, but now is a perfect time to bring it up because it's kind of the thing of the day.
It is a flavor, but I will tell you something. It's always been there. And the other thing too is
it always has.
Is that the United States of America was built on diversity. It was built on diversity of culture, right? It was built. People came from all over. Mm-hmm. So and yet the same thing that exists in today is what existed a long time ago. And I think it's people, and we just, the systemicness of it is this kind of, it's a beautiful time right now to become aware, right? Just to open our eyes and be able to see, because I do know this, and you touched on it a second ago. You said that everyone with a spine, should have access to chiropractic, and there's not one person who I feel that shouldn't have their nervous system functioning to the best of their ability, whether it's, children, adults, athletes in between, everybody, if they have a subluxation and chiropractors correct those, then we need to make sure that it's available to everybody.
Yes.
Right. If we're doing our job for humanity, we have to make sure it's available to everybody. And it's really interesting too, because when you look at the statistics, Doc, when you look at birthing, we'll just talk about birthing, in the Black community, they have one of the highest rates of problems, right? And a lot of this comes down to prenatal care. It comes down to all kinds of things that there is a disadvantage, and in the community, and that's what we need to break, right? We got to break this disadvantage and start creating more students to go out into the communities and bring in more Black students and students of color. Right?
Absolutely.
To be able to come in. And that's our mission here, and that's what we're doing. And we've been doing some pretty cool things, which this isn't about Life West. It's about Dr. Micheala Edwards and Abca and what you're doing. And you're just doing phenomenal stuff. I mean, I really appreciate it. And I want to let our listeners just know this, that if you're out there and you do a program or, you do seminars, you do whatever, this is a woman that you got to get on your stage. Like you said, just spoke to the California board, and but that's a board, and they're I know them, and they're great people, and yet to be able to get out and speak. If you're looking for a speaker, if you're looking for a person of color, if you're looking for a woman speaker, a woman of color, we're just checking the boxes off, right? That please call her and get a hold of her. We'll put the Abca information on the bottom so they can get a hold of you. Or your number, whatever will be under there. I'll talk to you afterwards. But please do that, because Abca needs to get out. We need an Abca chapter in every school.
Yes.
Correct?
School.
Does almost every school have one, or there's certain?
Almost every school is always at some point have one. There are some schools that don't have one currently, and we're trying to research to see if that's because we just don't have students of interest at those schools, or if it is still a situation where we have students of interest and the school won't support the formation of an official club on campus. So we're working toward that as well. But the goal absolutely is to have a SAPCA chapter, an active SAPCA chapter in every school in the nation, so that we most definitely can push this information through and get to every region, every state, every student that, is represented in the schools, because we know everyone's from different places, even when they go to school.
Right.
And so, that's the goal. It's a lot of research, and it's been years of a lot of, relationship building. I'll say that, because a lot of the students at these schools, it's a quick program by means of, if you want to do something in service, right? So by the time we get them as students and we start to work on the campuses, they're graduating from the school, and I'm like, no,
I tell you, I equate it. It's like herding cats.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, they're here, then they're gone, and then the minute they get in clinic, it's like we kind of lose them because they're focused on, and that's rightfully so. We're focused on what they're going to become. So, but we'll do everything we can to push that, and I will promise you that I will talk to the college presidents about the SAPCA organizations and making sure, because it's got to be sustainable, and we really need to get the message out as far as that this isn't just for Black chiropractors, it's for chiropractors of color, anybody actually, white chiropractors, Caucasians can be in there too, but we'll get that message out. But Doc, I just want you to know that I appreciate you. We've come to our time frame, but I just appreciate your passion.
Thank you.
I appreciate your heart. I appreciate that you're wanting to move this profession forward, and that you're wanting to make sure that our students, no matter what color, become successful.
Absolutely.
And I just think that, I really kind of hold, from what I've learned in these last few years as we've developed the last, 2.5 to 3 years, and at our college, we've dove into diversity and inclusion pretty heavy. And, from what I've learned is that, the Black students who have gone to school before this, and who are probably in school right now, hopefully won't be like it in the future, but they're coming into a white environment. Mm-hmm. And you probably experienced that,
I mean, I was a student when, the climate was similar, but not as heavy as it is right now, because, the only thing that I had to deal with when I was in school is Barack Obama running for president. That was like, that to me was like the biggest, I don't know, it was the news of the day. And so that's what everyone talked about. And so it was uncomfortable to sit in the classroom and with, the guys, I'm gonna say, with the guys and hear the political talk. It was a challenge. I made it through, but I do remember that. So I have empathy for the students of today, because if that's what I dealt with back then, and it was Barack Obama.
Think about what they're dealing with now.
Now I can imagine. So that's why we want to make sure we're an outlet.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, we did a thing, and I'll tell you really quickly, and but we did a thing. We walked through our halls and we looked and saw how do our halls speak to people of color. Mm-hmm. We did this exercise, right? Mm-hmm. And meet a few other administrators and marketing. We walked through and we saw this, and we saw these cartoons we had up that were really cool back in the 80s, but they were drawn in they were painting cartoons they were drawn like in the 30s and 40s. They're historic things in chiropractic, right? Every patient was white. Every doctor was white. It was like, and when you walk through, you say, well, is this really speaking to other people besides white? Because chiropractic is, so it's a very white profession. It was, and it's changing now. But so we looked at that and saw, we got to change this, and we took those pictures down actually, and now we're starting to look at how we create a diverse environment, right? Yeah. That's welcoming for everybody, everybody, that there's something there for everybody, right? And that's really what it's about.
Well, I'll tell you, the profession has gotten a lot better. When I was a student, and for a lot of people that don't know me personally, I'm a retired professional print ad model. And so when I went to Logan, I noticed an issue at the time that there was not stock photos of Black patients in chiropractic offices or Black doctors of chiropractic practicing, so that you can build like stock photos on your websites or on your apps or your social media. And I went searching. We even had a company that reached out to us, and then we invited them to one of our national conventions, and that was all they did. I even went as far as saying, this has to change. Like I need to do some videos or some photo shoots just to create the stock photos, just because it's missing. And at Logan, I was one. The guy that was over the media there, he actually would follow me around certain days and will take pictures of me doing certain things around campus. And there's still some of those pictures floating around. Every now and again, I'll get the monthly or quarterly, publication. Yeah. And it'll be one of my pictures from when I was a student and they're walking across campus or something. So, I mean, that's very important. And so I just want to say thank you from my heart. Thank you so much for just supporting us and supporting, all students, number one, but especially for supporting the ABCA and SABCA on your campus. We cannot wait to get there next year. We really were wanting to get there this year. It was a sad situation to go through last week and say, this was our week. Or last month to say, this is our week to be there. But we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a great turnout. And there will be so much information, so many opportunities for students and doctors to network and to learn more about what the ABCA is doing, as well as learn some things that are groundbreaking within our profession. So we'll offer some continuing education credits as well. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be so excited to have you. Final words. Any final words you'd like to share? Final words, keep watching our website, www.abcachiro.com, for more information on our events. There'll be some changes that will happen in the next, I would say, 60 to 90 days. You'll see the membership roll out, so be on the lookout for that, and just spread the word. If anyone is interested in speakers, we do have an official list of ABCA speakers that are ready to go. We've already made our first round of referrals out. So, Doc, as you said, anyone who is looking for a Black or a minority speaker, even CEU speakers, we have them. So give us a shout out or an email. You can always email us at info@abcachiro.com. Great. And it'll be on the bottom. We're going to have that right there. Thank you, Doc. I just want to really thank you. And I think that our audience today, they see who you are, and I see great things happening with Abca. I mean, thank you so much. And with what you be behind it, and Quentin Briscoe, who's the past president right now, who brings such a wealth of information and the biggest heart in the world, and then your board. So I'm thrilled for what you're doing. So keep doing what you're doing. Anything Life West can do to support you,
just know that we're here, okay?
All right. Thank you.
And that's a promise. And to our viewers today, thank you for listening in. You can know that everything will be on the bottom, that you could be able to reach out to Dr. Micheala or Abca and whatever you need around that. Just please reach out, because it's so important. And I want to thank you for listening in today. Know that we'll be back again next week with you, and also know that keep those dear and near to your heart. Keep loving them. Keep letting them know how much you care. And they'll let you know how much they care, because you know what? The one thing in this world that we can constantly give more and more of, and it gives back to us more and more in abundance, is love. So we love and appreciate you. Stay safe until our next leadership line, and know that we care about you.